Last time you saw the three of us here in Rupp Arena, we were much sadder after Kentucky just dropped a very bad game to South Carolina. But a week later, after upsetting Tennessee at Tennessee, I'm here with Jack and Zach, and we're celebrating Kentucky's 85-71 win over the Georgia Bulldogs. Started off a little rocky. Georgia jumped out to a huge lead, scoring 42 points in the first half and taking the lead into halftime. But in the second half, John Calipari went to that lineup we like. They ran away with the game and won it big in the end. Oscar Tshiebwe with a career day. What did he even have here? I got to look down. It was so outrageous. 37 points, 24 rebounds. That's 66 points and 41 rebounds in 2 career games against Georgia. My man hates the Bulldogs. He carried Kentucky to victory, but we also saw Cason Wallace running the show in the second half, and I think that's the big storyline. Jack Pilgrim, what are we doing with this point guard situation?
It is what it is. We've talked about it for a very long time, and it's unfortunate that it is on Xavier Wheeler's birthday, that he was not very happy on the bench, did not look like a happy birthday boy. Because Cason Wallace took over as point guard number 1, and it's unfortunate because you know the value that Xavier brings to the table, and that he does have a role on this team, and he does need to be there on the floor. But you saw this offense just work in the second half. He played 19 minutes, finished with a team high plus 22 in the plus minus. Xavier finishes with 11 minutes overall, 1 minute in the second half, and a team low -9 in a 14-point win. Kentucky, when he was in the game, got down by as many as 11 points in the first half. He goes out and Kentucky wins by 14 points. The math hasn't been mathing earlier on in the year, but it added up tonight, and it's a shame it happened on his birthday, but I think we have a new point guard number 1.
On his birthday against his old team, but like Jack said, it's just too obvious with the numbers right now. And if you don't believe the numbers, you can go to the sequence in the second half where Wheeler gives up the big three, comes down, tries to force an entry pass to Oscar Tshiebwe, it gets ripped. Georgia's going the other way. They just look so much better with Wallace, and then specifically Reeves and Frederick, the lineup we've all been crying for that looks so good against Tennessee. They looked so much better in that second half. Night and day differences in the halves. Zach, what was your big takeaway from what we saw tonight?
We'll stick with the Wheeler thing for a second. The only, not to dog him, I guess, but the only reason he came in even for that minute or less than a minute in the second half was because Cason picked up his 3rd foul. Cal is usually pretty adamant about sitting guys when they've got fouls like that, especially it was still kind of early in the second half. As Drew said, he turned the ball over there. Cal immediately pulls him. Cason comes back in with the 3 fouls, and Kentucky continues to go back on their run. So there's just a lot of the, things going against Xavier there on his birthday. But overall, it was the Oscar Tshiebwe show from start to finish. He came out of the gate hot. I think he had 14 and 9 at halftime, which tells you how crazy his second half was. He scored the first 9 points, I believe, the second half before C.J. Frederick hit a big three that put Kentucky ahead for the first time since very early in the first half. And from there, it was just give Oscar the ball, no matter how many times Georgia's going to slap their arms all over him or have 4 or 5 guys on him. Even Oscar was literally bringing the ball down to his toes and going up through 6 arms. Half the time getting the call, half the time not. I believe he shot really well from the free throw line. Let me cheat a little bit.
You can look at my cheat sheet.
13 of 18 from the free throw line. Not excellent, but good enough, especially for a guy like Oscar who's kind of been struggling a little bit at the line from there. You also had a big night from Jacob Toppin, even if he missed a bunch of those nail free throw shots that he was getting a lot of clean looks at from early in the first half. But I think he had 4 assists as well, 11 rebounds. He did a lot of high energy stuff, had a couple of nice putbacks, 1 really big slam as well. So those are kind of the takeaways that I have here. Antonio Reeves also played well, 17 points. Yeah. So kind of an all-around effort from the basketball betting lineup. CJ kind of, wasn't as impactful or productive as we might want him to be, but still flying all over the floor. That's really his big thing, is he's just opening up space, and it makes life a lot easier for Oscar in there when there's no other Kentucky player within the 3-point line.
CJ had maybe the play of the game. Cal gave Chris Livingston credit for throwing it out to him. It was Oscar, alpha missed free throw, threw it out to Frederick at the top of the key, hit the big 3-pointer. Again with Oscar, he was just out of control today. I mean, that was superhuman, even by last year's standards. I found it interesting after he missed so many bunnies this season. He was dunking on guys' heads, and Cal said in the post-game press conference, said, quit laying it up. Get up there and dunk on guys, and we saw that tonight.
Yeah, he said that it was like watching a video game. That's exactly what it was. It was you play 2K and you can go back and play with the legends. This was 2000 Shaq when he won his MVP, where he was just dunking on everybody's heads and just throwing elbows and dunking through people. That's exactly what we saw. I talked to Cason Wallace after the game, and he said, look, I saw all the highlights last year. I've played with him. I've been here in practice, but he said, I have never seen anything like that. And I mean, it's just true. What he did tonight, and it's crazy because we've seen so many dominant performances for Oscar during his time here where he, does something and we go, wow, we've never seen this in a Kentucky uniform, because we hadn't up until that point, and then he just continues to top it over and over again. And this one was just a whole new realm of basketball. This is, if Kentucky gets this out of Oscar Tshiebwe, not every night, but once in a blue moon, just to kind of reestablish his dominance in the college basketball world, I think Kentucky's going to be just fine.
Antonio Reeves said that a fresh haircut from Oscar Tshiebwe was part of what he came in. He did say that, yeah, apparently Oscar had this. I didn't notice he had a different haircut, but apparently he had the same thing in high school. And I guess he brought it back for this game, and we see the results. So whoever his barber is deserves a raise, I think.
Shout out to the team barber and Oscar's big night. If not for him, in the first half, I was a little worried. Georgia's guards are kind of good, like better than Georgia's guards usually are. Roberts and Oquindo.
Yep.
Kentucky had no answer for them in the first half. And those guys are cocky. He's shushing the crowd, blowing kisses. I kind of hated them a little bit early on. There's nothing Kentucky could do, especially the one-on-one and the straight line drives. But they settled in, played better defense. A lot of that might be Wallace taking over for Wheeler, even though Wheeler didn't play much in the first half. But they finally cooled off. Regardless, I think Mike White's got a decent Georgia team. We're used to just seeing Kentucky roll all over them.
And yeah, they've been overachieving this year. They started out really strong, especially in the SEC, and they've got athletes. They defend hard. They, like you said, they play with heart. They, blowing kisses to the crowd. It's an enjoyable, not as an opposing fan, but if you're just a fan of college basketball, I kind of like it. They're a bunch of dogs, no pun intended, but I do like what they bring to the table, and it was a nice statement for guys like Cason Wallace. Even when Adu Thiero stepped in the second half and times in the first time, he came in. Yeah, the talk about him playing the 4 for John Calipari, clearly that's gone because he was playing the 1. He was playing the 1 for John Calipari, but he stepped up defensively and was poking balls loose and taking advantage of some of the miscues that the Georgia guards had. I just love the way they stepped up in the second half when they did start out so hot. That's a second half adjustment. Maybe not coaching wise, but individual player wise. I thought the effort was there. I thought the heart was there, especially in the second half.
It is a little concerning. It's January 17th, and still just kind of throwing stuff at the wall with lineups. Lance Ware, did he even play tonight?
A second.
Very minimal. And
Ugo had a couple minutes.
Ugo played 1 minute too. Yeah.
Adu with 3 minutes at the point. I mean, I know those are reserve players, and Cal's just trying to give them minutes and figure out what they can do. But there's a little something to piecing this all together in mid-January. Texas A&M is up next. How are we feeling about that after stringing 2 games in a row here?
Final 4, here we come.
You turned around that quickly over this game?
Why not? We can completely flip it next game if we want to. This is the rapid reaction. These are all our rapid thoughts here.
We do the instant takeaways that sometimes backfire, but can we believe in something moving forward? A lot of it is the lineup changes, and unfortunately, as we said, Dallin Wheeler's minutes back a little bit, but has Kentucky found something?
Look, that's all we've been wanting. We just want effort. We just want heart. We just want what we saw in the second half, where it was like, all right, we have the talent, we have the guys, we have the dudes on this team. Just play like it. You are a better team than Georgia. They play with heart, they play with energy. But when it comes to talent, Kentucky has it, and then that's all we want to see. We just want to see stacked wins on top of each other, stacked solid performances on top of each other. We did it in Knoxville, did it again here at Rupp Arena. Let's run it back against Texas A&M.
A few other good things we like tonight before we go. The halftime show was pretty neat. People jumping on trampolines. That was kind of cool. Jacob Toppin dunked on a guy's head. Haven't seen that in a while, so one of these for Jacob. Sharif Abdur-Rahim's son played for Georgia. Always good seeing him. My 5th grade girlfriend got me a Sharif Abdur-Rahim Grizzlies jersey in 5th grade. Means a lot to me to see his baby boy out here. Got me feeling old. Any other random moments from the evening, or just Oscar going off is all we're really taking away from this?
I forgot to use my media voucher.
I did too.
Both of you?
I did too. I didn't even.
I've been collecting a nice little collection
candy
of candy at home. I could create like a little candy store home. It's unfortunate.
Too focused on Oscar.
Not tonight.
He stole my attention.
Oscar ate more than I needed to, unfortunately.
Well, you're both going home empty-handed without candy. I'm glad you wore the shirt. I haven't worn mine in a few weeks. I got to get that on the next rapid reaction. But I guess we'll sign off for now from Rupp Arena after a win. Smiling faces, Drew Franklin, Jack Pilgrim, and Zach Gagan. This is the KSR Rapid Reaction to Kentucky, Georgia. Hit subscribe, comment, do all those things YouTubers say before they go. I'm going to do that now. Go Cats.